I tell this to everybody because somebody, Jason, asked me this the other day. He says, so I'm to fire my defense attorney. I said, what are you, out of your effing mind? I said, you need somebody to be your co-counsel. You need somebody to appear with you before their tribunals, before their courts, before their, personhoods, before their, officials. You need one of them. I said, because when I walk into a court, I'm a very intimidating-looking man. I'm a very big guy, and I, like Jimmy said the other day, he said, you really scared the shit out of these 7 guys. When you stepped out, they said you were really mad. I said, I'm not mad, but boy, they believed you were mad, didn't they? He said, yeah, it's all part of the acting in public. I said, they're afraid of me, just by my sheer presence and my size, my attitude, and my demeanor. They didn't know what I was going to do. They see me jump out of the truck. They said, how you doing today? I said, all depends on what the fuck you're doing and what the fuck you're doing here and what you've done. So like I said, when I walked away, Jimmy said, the boss guy, whatever, said, man, that guy's pissed. I wasn't pissed. It's part of a performance. It's an act. I know how to act in public. I know how to control myself. It's an act. It's just like, it was funny, I was listening to a story from the niece of Al Capone. She was like, it was all an act with this guy, He said he was all serious, acted badass and everything in front of his friends. He said as soon as all the people or the associates or, the lower people below him left, she said the guy was like demonic when these people were in front of him. And as soon as they left, she said he sat down in a chair, looked over at me and winked, and he started laughing his ass off and went back to being Uncle Al. She says it's all a fucking act. It's like he knows how you got to break some knuckles, but it's part of the game. This is how I got to act like a crazy animal. But honestly, I'm a nice guy who just wants to sing and laugh and joke with his niece. So see, that's what I'm saying. It's all how to act in public and how you control the act. How do you keep the act under control? And most people don't know how to do it. So that's what I'm trying to teach people. It's like your parents never taught you how to act in public, did they? They never taught you how to act before the court, how to act before the world in an open forum. That's all the court is an open forum before the world, acting in public. You couldn't handle it in private, now you're acting in the public. So that's all I'm trying to do is trying to keep people to understand that, look, these attorneys, these lawyers, whatever, they're fine. They're just a normal guy like you and me. And so you need to walk into their world. If you're walking into the legal society world and they see, like I said, I got lucky. The guy who was with me, he was also a big guy. He was like 6'2", 6'3". He weighed like, 240, 260 pounds like me. He was a big boy. He was the same age as me. He wore glasses, suit and tie. But they recognized him as one of their own. So it's like when you're walking into somebody's kingdom or castle and you're all decked out, it's like, holy crap, who's this guest? Who's this stranger? But if you see him walking in with one of the knights of the esquires of the court, of the crown, they're like, oh, okay, if he's escorting them in here, he probably would, his first duty is to the court, is to the crown, so he would warn us that this guy's a hothead, or this guy is carrying an AK-47, or this guy's going to go bananas on everybody in this courtroom. So if he sees me walking in calm and collective and he sees his buddy walking in and not, winking his nose or blinking his eye or giving a hand gesture to get the bailiffs over here, he realizes that the court calms down and everybody's more relaxed. So if you have a decent, it's like public defender or a crown, barrister or a solicitor, that's fine. All it does is it keeps the court calm. It helps everybody calm down on the other side because it's the second dimension against the third dimension. And you're bringing the third dimension into their second dimension world. And when they realize you're the third dimension, and they realize, man, they're in trouble. They realize you're not playing the second dimension game. No, I'm not. But as long as you're escorted in with another government official or esquire solicitor, they feel a little bit more comfortable to deal with you. So like Gus said, yeah, if I had a guy who didn't really know what I was doing, yeah. Get a co-counsel. Don't let them stand there and act as an attorney on your behalf. Never get to that level of trust. But always make sure that you have a voice in the matter. Always make sure that you bring the third dimension forward anytime you wish. Always appear with them as co-counsel. But appear with them? Absolutely. That's fine. You show the second dimension, I got one of your own right here. He checked me out. I'm kosher. I'm good to go. I'm squeaky clean. I'm not going to hurt nobody. So go ahead. You're saying how wonderful this guy Kevin was, so go ahead.
Well, he did a great job closing his closing argument. I know Mike would have loved it. He got up there, and the very first words out of his mouth were, "Gentlemen, ladies and gentlemen of the jury," he says, the government they want you to believe all these presumptions. They want, they're offering you presumptions and bringing it to the threshold and hoping that you're gonna do the rest of their job and kick it over. Just push it through the threshold and find in their favor. But it's all presumptions. It's they want you to believe their presumption of this and their presumption of that. And he went through every piece of evidence that mattered and said, they want you to believe this presumption. However, it's only a presumption, and you have to be beyond a reasonable doubt. And how could you be beyond a reasonable doubt if you take this presumption here, and he would put a piece of evidence on the table, on the projector screen so they could see it, and then he would tell them why that presumption has failed. And he says, you guys do what you guys do for a living. Whatever you do, you're a dentist, you're a farmer, whatever you do it well. And what I do is I provide defense for people to help them, get through things like this. And so my view on this trial is very different from your view. You're here, trying to be as objective as possible, listening to all the information, which is fantastic. But from where I'm sitting, I've noticed some very serious lack of credibility with a very specific witness in this case. And you might not see it my way because I'm trained this way, but this is what I saw. And he just laid it all out, rolled out the red carpet for them to just walk right down and see how everything's a presumption. There was no evidence provided. It was just, there was offers of proof, and that's about as good as it got. And, okay. And,
sorry about that, Gus. I just logged on. I'm going to log on with a different name. Sorry about that. Yeah, take over the board again. Log back on.
I think I'm still back on. Oh, okay, I see.
Can you control the board?
Yeah, I've got it.
Okay, I'm gonna log back out and come under my other name, so I don't knock you off. Go ahead, keep going, man. You're doing good.
All right. Where was I at?
You were saying, Kevin was saying a whole bunch of presumptions, that they were making a lot of presumptions. One of the witnesses sucked, and this is the reason why that witness sucked, and he took the overhead and he was showing why. Their number one witness had no effing clue what they were going on about.
Yeah, and he was providing these guys with, his view as a defense attorney of, the kinds of things he looks at. For instance, I hang drywall for a living. So when I walk into a building which has no drywall in it, there's just a big pile of drywall on the floor, I go into the building and I analyze the walls and the ceiling and the size of the sheets and which sheets are going to go where. These sheets are in the wrong room. These need to be put over there. These are the short sheets. We're going to use those at the end to wrap up. The big sheets have to go on the ceiling. So, I have my way of doing my work, and this defense attorney has his way of doing his work, and he laid that all out to the jury so that they could see, through his eyes what he saw.